Yes, late it is on Listen Up. Phil and Rye presented by Dempsey's in Sportsland. Listen up. You do want to listen up. This is I want to I'll touch on each topic, Ryan, but I can't wait to get your take because I was kind of I don't know. I don't like to root against the top team, but yet again, we do cover this UConn women's basketball team, and now we're covering this game here between two legendary women basketball players. The Iowa Hawkeyes defeat the South Carolina Gamecocks to end that big winning streak and their undefeated season to put them at 36-1. And that's it, 77-73. Final score, Ryan. As we have, comments pouring in everywhere, trending on Twitter. We could spend the whole night, probably till the sun rises, Ryan, to read this. To cover this game recap. This is a big recap, and not to take away anything from our other check-ins, our last check-ins, and the recaps that we did on UConn all year. But Ryan, oh man, this was a physical game. Up and down the roster and back and forth too, right? Back and forth. But at the end, it was who else but Caitlin Clark scoring 41, getting her teammates involved. And man, oh man, I'll get into it after your wonderful game recap. But to me, it's like mixed emotions, if you will, in UConn, because this game right here, it's almost like bittersweet because think about it, Ryan. Yes, South Carolina lost. Hey, they lost. Yeah, we're up there in UConn. They're probably glad, but at the same time, you're sitting back wondering what could have been.
Yeah, well, I need to get up in less than 6 hours, so we might as well stay up we might as well stay up until the sun rises.
Yeah, you might as well just stay up. Yeah.
But before I get into the game, I want to mention the game before this one between LSU and Virginia Tech. Absolutely insane, just like this one. Virginia Tech had a 9-point lead to begin the fourth quarter, but then it was all Sonya Morris and Angel Reese that led the LSU comeback win over the Hokies. LSU goes to its first national championship in program history. And also, before I start the recap, I just want to say congratulations to Caitlin Clark for winning a slew of awards this week. 2023 Wade Trophy presented to the best college women's basketball player. Also named the Naismith Player of the Year, AP Women's Player of the Year award, and also the Ann Myers Drysdale Award as the USBWA National Player of the Year. So again, just an amazing season by Caitlin Clark.
I feel like by the time, not to cut you off, by the time she reaches very quickly her peak level in the WNBA, I feel like, Ryan, they were going to be, she had to actually build like a separate little house or a shed, just to store all of her trophies in, huh?
Yeah, her number definitely getting retired as the Iowa Hawkeye. Just incredible career that she's had, an incredible season. But for the game tonight, little nerves started to kick in, I think, for the start of this game for both teams, and understandably so. But of course, it was Caitlin Clark starting out the scoring, getting an easy layup. I was impressed with Iowa's defense to start off this game. Monica Sonato and McKenna Warnock were holding their own against Aaliyah Boston and the big players that South Carolina has. But Aaliyah Boston picked up her second foul at the end of the first quarter, which forced her to sit the last 2 minutes of the first and a bunch of the second quarter. I actually don't even know she checked in during that second quarter, but Iowa ended the quarter on a 9-2 run and led 22-13 at the end of the first. And then South Carolina started to make their run, made a little comeback in the second. Even with Aaliyah Boston on the bench, South Carolina is just so big. Camila Cardoso, Letitia Amir, Victoria Saxon, all these players, 6'2", 6'4", 6'7", they're just getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound, getting a bucket or getting fouled or even both. But, just Iowa having everyone down there to box out, and they still can't get a rebound with just how big South Carolina is and their size. And it wasn't just really South Carolina's rebound, and it was their hustling, being aggressive, more aggressive than what Iowa was, fighting for those rebounds. being more aggressive on defense, and that's what led to a little bit of their comeback. Caitlin Clark doing everything possible to keep her team in the game. Iowa, though, still holding a 1-point lead going into halftime. Iowa started out the third quarter very, very hot. Iowa's ability to just pass the ball in their pick and roll game with Clark and Sonato is pretty fun to watch. Just their ability to pass the ball. Hawkeyes, they went on a little run of their own, but Camila Cardoso, again, she could pretty much do whatever she wanted the whole game. Yeah. She's just so tall down there. She's pretty fun to watch as well. And again, South Carolina's rebounds, keeping them in the game. Very, very physical game. There was a lot of fouls called away from the ball, down low. Really questionable calls, but I really feel for the refs because this was a really tough game to officiate with how physical it was. Yeah. Iowa's still holding their ground. Their ball movement, speed on offense, keeping their lead alive, and take a 4-point advantage into the final quarter. And it was a very, very entertaining final quarter. Story stayed the same for both teams. Rebounds for South Carolina, they had a total of 26 offensive rebounds for the game. Countless second chance points. And for Iowa, again, it was just Caitlin Clark ended the game with 41 points. Back-to-back 41-point games for her. Iowa got a huge offensive rebound with about 13 seconds left. They didn't get too many, but they got the one that counted there at the end. Caitlin Clark, again, drilled 4 free throws at the end to put the dagger in South Carolina in their 42-game win streak. Iowa joins LSU, also making their first national championship appearance, joining LSU in that game, defeating South Carolina 77-73.
Yeah, very well said. And I just want to point out, Ryan, and this is just, again, a reminder for all of us, not only me, but I was actually down there at the I was lucky enough to be there front row section for the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Maryland Terrapins game earlier this season when Maryland went off. Maryland went absolutely off on Iowa for the big victory at College Park. And, a lot of people, I feel like that if you paid attention to the whole regular season, I want to shout out to Lisa Bluter, the head coach for Iowa, and just the whole staff and the players, because again, I'm sure I'm not the only one feeling guilty about this. I'm sure you are too. What's your take? I mean, when you see a team like that, Lisa Bluter in that interview that they had post game against the Terrapins when they got blown out at College Park, she said, I believe she used the term like Caitlin Clark, they locked her up all night. They was in her jaw all night, pressing her, and she couldn't really do anything. But I mean, when you talk about elite teams in sports, Ryan, I'm sure I'm not the only one that kind of wrote them off when they lost so bad in College Park against Diamond Miller and Brenda Freese and company, who are now out of the tournament, down to 2 teams, obviously. What's that speak in terms of Bluter and Caitlin Clark and the rest of this group too? Because it seems like after that, it seems like, again, because I always like to go to the turning point, if you will, right? It seems like that, man, that was, in my opinion, the turning point. That big loss at College Park, after that, it was all Iowa, and it all is because, hey, guess what? I don't know about you, but I have them winning the national championship.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much a national championship tonight. Yeah. LSU is a really good team. Angel Reese, I'm sure it'll still be a really good game on ABC on Sunday, of course. But yeah, I have Iowa as well. I think Caitlin Clark absolutely puts on another show. But it should be a pretty fun game. But yeah, Iowa's head coach, she's been there for quite a while. But also obviously her first national championship game. But yeah, it's been quite a journey for her and Caitlin Clark and all these other players. They've been playing together for quite a while. And we even saw UConn defeat Iowa earlier in the season And they limited Caitlin Clark pretty well in that game. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Maryland really took it to Iowa in College Park. And after that, it seemed like Iowa did go into another gear, got into the Big Ten tournament, obviously, and pretty much ran through all those teams. Maryland put up another good fight. That was a really good game. And then Iowa put up 105 on Penn State, I think, to win the Big Ten. And then after that, they've pretty much been on a roll ever since. And Caitlin Clark, like I said, back-to-back 40-plus point games, had a 41 triple-double the other night.
Yeah.
But yeah, just unreal, season that they've had, Caitlin Clark and company. And it's so fun to watch. I mean, I was just sitting there watching the game, really in awe sometimes of what Caitlin Clark is able to do. And, I think at times you just compare Caitlin Clark to Steph Curry. And it's quite unbelievable how good Caitlin Clark is on offense and shooting the ball.
All right, something a little bit different. We won't be going over actual UConn video comments, but how about let's go to I like this one. What's trending right now? Obviously, a lot of you guys are in bed, so we can only hope and pray that you do catch this video tomorrow morning as you wake up on your Saturday morning, officially April the 1st on the East Coast, Ryan. So happy April. And we all know that baseball is back, Ryan. A lot to be excited for as basketball comes to an end, but we promise you guys, we will be right here. And obviously, yes, we're talking to UConn fans as well. We can't wait to cover the New York Liberty, Ryan. We will get into, I like this one a lot. Goldilocks. This is trending right now, Ryan. So you're on the spotlight because these are not comments that were written 24 hours ago, 15 hours ago. These are trending right now. All right. So the spotlight on Ryan. Goldilocks goes, I want to be just like Caitlin Clark when I grow up, even if she was born when I was a high school sophomore. So I see the older generation. I mean, that's saying a lot. The older generation, they want to be like Caitlin Clark, even though she wasn't around when they were born.
Man, I want to be like Caitlin Clark too. I mean, she's just so
who I want to be. I want to be like Ryan Renner.
But no, I mean, it really just is amazing. And there's so many young fans there at the game watching Caitlin Clark, and the Iowa Hawkeye faithful really showed up. Both teams had an amazing crowd, sold out arena, I believe, there tonight. So just amazing support from both fan bases. But yeah, the Iowa fans were really, really loud the entire night. So that was really good to see for just the sport in general. But yeah, there's just so many young fans of Caitlin Clark that look up to her, I'm sure, and she's such an inspiring role model to a lot of young basketball players or even not basketball players.
This is interesting. Just 29 seconds ago, Mr. Todd goes, after watching Caitlin Clark dominate South Carolina, Kim Mulkey would like to speak to a manager. She's got her hands full, Ryan.
Yeah, Kim Mulkey is quite the personality, and I was watching her in that. I guess it was after the game and on the broadcast on ESPN, and just they're talking about all of her outfits that she wears. So she's quite the personality with her and Angel Reese together. They're pretty fun to watch too.
Maggie goes, Leah Boston has clearly been crying, is so upset, and she's talking about everything great that Raven Johnson did tonight. She is an incredible player, but I am more impressed by the human she is.
Yeah, kind of a disappointing game for Aaliyah Boston. Like I said, got in early foul trouble and certainly not making the impact that she would have liked to had in this game. But Zaya Cook and Camila Cardoso had unreal games, and like they just said, Raven Johnson as well. Iowa left her open from three, and I believe she was 3 of 6 from 3-point range. So she was knocking down a lot of threes because Iowa had about 4 players in the paint trying to stop South Carolina's post game. But yeah, I mean, Aaliyah Boston, really, really disappointing game. I'm sure for her, not able to be on the court as much as she would have liked tonight.
This last comment, break this down for me and just tell me before you analyze this. Tell me if Phil preaches this, and you know what I mean. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, that this actually backs me up for once. thank you to this person who goes, shouldn't be lost here that Aaliyah Boston is handling this press conference incredibly well. And there's a reason many were rooting against South Carolina because they were the best. It's lonely at the top and the underdog is popular. Impressive run for South Carolina. And Ryan, the reason I say that is because I told you, man, everybody loves to win, but there is, I'm just now realizing this even more, like my eyes open even more and more and more when this kind of stuff happens in the sports world. There is a price for winning. Winning is great, but there is a tough price to win and to keep winning.
Yeah, winning certainly does come with a pretty hefty price after certainly you do it after many, many years and build a dynasty. And it's been pretty lonely at the top for UConn for a lot of years. But unfortunately, for a couple years now, for 6 years now, I believe we've seen it kind of fall off for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, South Carolina now has been, they had an amazing team in 2017 with Asia Wilson. They've been pretty good for quite a while. Number one in the AP poll. And like I said, 42 game win streak. And yeah, I'm sure there is a lot of people rooting against them to lose this game. And everybody likes the underdog. So, I mean, when you win and dominate for however many years or just a whole season in general, you're going to have a lot of haters, but everybody does certainly love an underdog story. But Caitlin Clark certainly is no underdog. She is just incredible to watch.
Who would have guessed, man? I read earlier today that people were paying for, I guess, more tickets or the prices were higher. I'll have to go back. Excuse me if I'm wrong about whichever one of those is incorrect. I believe they said the ticket prices were higher than the men's tournament selling for the Final Four, the women's Final Four. That's good news. That's good news. You and I dream about one of them days where, yeah, every women's basketball game is a sellout, and we expect the one coming up tomorrow at 3:30 to be a sellout. It's kind of like the men's bracket, Ryan. It's no number one left. It's number 2, Iowa, number 3, LSU. Who will be at the top of the nation? It's what we've been waiting for all year, Ryan. American Airlines Center tomorrow at 3:30. We will be right back here for the game recap at approximately 5:30, 6 o'clock. Ryan, get some sleep. Phil and Rye, late, 12:41 Eastern time. Well, listen up.